Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. So we have Maetria in the game. So we had the leak from the guys at AFK Inside about her abilities, but now we know all the numbers and stuff. So we're going to go through all of her abilities again, and then we'll do a little bit of testing at the end, see what she looks like and how it works. But, you know, we're going to have to wait for her to actually drop in the game with the test trial version and the guild trials to really test her out. But yeah, let's check out her skills. We're going to do it the same way we did it before. We'll start off with this skill because everything revolves around this skill. So this is the Immortal Blaze. Maetria deals damage to enemies in front for 280% of her attack rating and hurls a cataclysmic flame at the enemy in range with the highest attack rating. An enemy being burned by a cataclysmic flame loses 2% of their max health per second, which is really solid. Has the cap of 200% of her attack. That's really solid. Cataclysmic flames cannot be dispelled. If an enemy being burnt by a cataclysmic flame is hit by another cataclysmic flame, the enemy will lose 600 energy, which is bloody solid, and the flame will turn into apocalyptic flame, while the health of the enemy that the enemy loses per second will be increased by 50%. So then they start losing 3% of their max health per second. The apocalyptic flame will revert to a cataclysmic flame after 4 seconds. The effect of apocalyptic flames are not stackable, but their duration can be extended. What I'm curious about with testing this is how long before she uses this again to redo it, because with only 4 seconds... it makes me think she won't be stacking it because I doubt she's going to be using this ability like every 3 seconds. So it seems like it's actually not too bad that it drops off that quickly, because it means then when she goes again and uses this again to... once it's reverted back to the cataclysmic flame, it means she's going to then turn it into apocalyptic and they're going to lose 600 energy again. So that's really solid lockout in general. And then these are going to be the signature item upgrades. The duration of it goes up to 6 seconds. Then it goes to 7 seconds. So she may overlap that. While being burned by an apocalyptic flame, an enemy's tenacity and dissolve are both reduced by 30. And then at 30 signature item, if an enemy being burned by a cataclysmic flame or an apocalyptic... dude, I can't say that word quickly. Apocalyptic flame is hit by another cataclysmic flame through the skill Immortal Blaze. The cataclysmic flame will spread to the nearest enemy, prioritizing enemies that are not being burnt by cataclysmic flame. So it just adds a spread to it, which is pretty solid. So now let's go into the ultimate. Maetria deals damage to all enemies equal to 320% of attack rating, which isn't a massive multiplier, but there's more to the ability, obviously. If a hit enemy is being burned by a cataclysmic flame or apocalyptic flame, the shield they receive over the next 7 seconds will be destroyed after 1 second. I was curious to see the timing on this. After 1 second is actually pretty decent. If someone uses a shield and shields like back row enemies who haven't, you know, they haven't been hit in 1 second, you're going to deal that damage, which is solid. When an enemy shield is destroyed, they will take damage equal to the shield's remaining value. This effect cannot stack and can only be triggered once every 3 seconds. So that's the one catch, is the 3 second thing, but still 3 seconds ain't too bad on frequency. This damage cannot exceed 400% of Maetria's attack rating. If an enemy being burned by apocalyptic flame is hit by Maetria's ultimate skill, they will also be terrified for 3 seconds. It's a pretty solid skill. Not a great multiplier at base, but in general, just shields, no more. Obviously, it's not going to be massive damage if the enemy doesn't have shields, so it's sort of that trade-off, like really good against shields, not so good against non-shields. But anyway, worst case, you get a Terrify in it as well, which is pretty solid. So skill ups for this one. For every enemy being burned by cataclysmic flame or apocalyptic flame, the damage of this skill is increased by 15%. Not too bad if you get all 5 of them. I wonder if it even includes minions and stuff. Not too sure. If Immortal Blaze has been unlocked when Maetria uses this skill, the enemy who has dealt the most total damage will be hit by a cataclysmic flame, and they will deal 50% less damage for the next 7 seconds. Not too bad. Crippling a damage dealer as well. Then we go into this one, the passive From the Ashes. Every time Maetria dies, this was the one I was really keen to see numbers on. Every time she dies, she transforms into a fireball. While in fireball mode, she is not considered to be a living hero and cannot be targeted, and will resurrect after her allies have used their active skills 18 times. You get some real godcom cycling going on there. Or all allied heroes have died. Before she resurrects, the damage dealt by her cataclysmic flame is reduced by 40%. So I believe that means that the cataclysmic flame on enemies from the point she dies to when she resurrects, it's reduced by 40% because they could still be burning. When she resurrects, she damages nearby enemies for 150% of her attack rating and terrifies them for 2 seconds. Maetria can resurrect up to 2 times. This skill cannot be used while you have Taline in your formation. So honestly, not crazy resurrection damage, but you do get the Terrify as well. And it's just not too bad in my opinion. It's pretty solid ability. And obviously the 18 skills is a thing, but we get onto that in a minute. When Maetria resurrects, she damages nearby enemies for 220% of her attack rating. For every enemy, celestial or dimensional hero on the battlefield, the number of times allies need to use their active skill for her to resurrect is reduced by 2. So not too bad if you're fighting against a bunch of them. Maetria can now resurrect up to 3 times. For every enemy, celestial or dimensional hero on the battlefield, the damage dealt by her cataclysmic flames is increased by 10%. So really a hard counter. Like there's going to be crazy and treasure scramble and stuff like that if I had to guess. Then, and the other thing is, like, she also revives once there's no allies left. So I'm keen to see in testing if this means, like, she can revive 2 times at base. Does that mean, like, if she doesn't die at all during the battle, every ally dies? It's like she just gets 2 free reses anyway. It's not like Taylor where it ends. So it seems pretty solid. Then we got this Smoldering Flame. Whenever heroes' health falls below 15%, this ability is just cracked. They become fuel for the Solaran Furnace. Now, 15%, you know, not like if it was a bit higher, it would be fantastic. But, you know, not too bad. They become fuel for the Solaran Furnace. And it's a hero, so I don't think that includes summons. Sorry, getting distracted. And a 7-second countdown begins. The hero dies when the countdown ends. This effect can only be triggered once for each hero. During the countdown, she absorbs 50 points of the hero's energy. After the affected hero dies, they leave behind a smoldering flame that deals damage equal to 50% of her attack to nearby enemies every second. When the skill is used against a boss, it will deal 1-time fixed damage against the boss of 600% attack. Not too bad. If the skill ups, now these are engravings. If the countdown is for an allied hero, they take the damage they take is reduced by 35%. If it is for an enemy hero, the damage they take is increased by 35%. When the countdown ends, she permanently receives the hero's current attack rating, defense rating, and remaining health up to 100% of her initial attack rating. Now, this is crazy when we combine that with the fact that her resurrect, by the sounds of it, is going to work even if all allies are dead. So she gets basically fully topped off with some massive stacking things. Now, when she's not considered a living hero, I don't know if the stat buffs carry over through each resurrection. If they do, it's kind of crazy in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. Up to 100% of her initial attack rating for all attribute bonuses. So it is kind of capped. So that's not crazy, I guess, but the capping, I didn't actually read that. It's a bit of a downer. When the hero's smoldering flame appears, nearby enemies will be burnt by cataclysmic flames. This effect can also trigger if the hero dies before the countdown ends. So that's just a way to instantly spread a bunch of flames. So I don't know, could she work a bit like a Lucretia, but not quite as effective? I think she's going to be like just all-around balanced teams you're going to want, but we'll have to test it out. So that's everything except for this one. Now, this one was confusing when I read it last time. It's going to be confusing again, so I apologize. Allied heroes that are not dimensionals or celestials will be regarded by Maetria as hypergeans and receive hypergene factional bonuses as in-combat buffs. These in-combat buffs will be based on the number of hypergenes in your formation, including heroes regarded as hypergenes because of this skill. These in-combat buffs will not affect any faction bonuses that affect at the start of battle. The affected heroes will also gain 25% damage bonus against Celestials and 10 proficiency points in this battle. So what I'm thinking this means is, once you're in battle, you get the Hypergene faction set bonuses, but then you also get your base bonuses. That's the way I'm reading it. Once again, this is kind of tricky to understand, but that's the way I'm reading it. So I'm reading it as like, okay, say you put her with 4 maulers. You get the full 4 mauler buff of like 20% or whatever it is, and then you also get the 5 hypergene buff, is the way I'm understanding that, but I could be wrong. So let's have a look at her skills. So there's the blowing flame there. She's put the flame on that enemy. And there's the ult. It's not too crazy, but I think the magic in her is going to happen when like as the battle goes on, allies die. I just think she's going to stack incredibly well. It's just a matter of if she scales hard enough. But in general, I feel like she is going to scale pretty decently. We'll have to wait and see. So it looks like she's capped at 3 of the smoldering flames, because as she's killing others, because I'm not seeing any timers go on them, so it must. I'm not too sure why no one else is getting a smoldering flame. But let's jump over into combat. Let's take a look. Here we go. All right, so we just want allies that are going to die. Really want to test it with some fodder units. Why is everything so damn tanky? Why is everything in this thing so damn tanky? I feel like can she go front row? I mean, if she dies, it's not the end of the world. She will come back, but I don't think you really want to optimize her front row. Dude, let's just do the first few. Let's go. Okay, so I don't know how to tell what the bonus. Not too sure. It's a bit confusing. Like I said, that awakening ability is a bit confusing. Boom, there's that. It's just too hard to tell. Like, these stages are just horrible for testing stuff. Yeah, so now we've got 4 flames out. Well, that was pretty average, but like I said, I'm not too sure. I feel like we need to test her with the T. Like, I feel like testing her at high deficit is actually the best way to test her to see how well this stuff's going to scale. So I have to wait and see. I feel like her damage capacity is limited when you're fighting weak enemies. So we will definitely have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, that is Maetria. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.